Photography can be a really fun profession or hobby, but it can also be a drag when you open up your hard drive and you see thousands of unedited photos waiting for you. Or maybe you're the photographer in the group, so everyone's asking you to send photos from that one time. Or maybe you want to get better and improve in the craft itself, but are confused by all the gear reviews and other photographers telling you what you need to, have to, or should do. Yes, this video is included. I used to be just like that. I would be overwhelmed by all the pictures I had to edit. I always had a backlog of images that I never sent my friends, and still never really do. I wanted to prioritize on getting better at photography itself, but everything I found on the internet was conflicting and confusing. So today I'm going to teach you guys how to cut through the noise. You see, it wasn't until I figured out a few key central concepts that I was able to become a more productive photographer. Doing these things have allowed me to save more than 24 hours a week. That's kind of a ballpark number. It's how I'm not only able to create content on YouTube for you guys, but also write my newsletter, create content for other social platforms like Instagram, and still be able to create time to work on this upcoming photo zine. And the great news is that you can take and apply this to anything you do in life. It doesn't have to be just photography. So we're going to start small with a few time savers and then gradually progress into some, in my opinion, some life-changing productivity concepts. These shifts should help you a ton if you're looking to be more productive in this upcoming year. Let's start with this. Stop watching gear reviews. Yes, even mine. The first thing I would recommend if you're looking to become a more productive photographer is to stop watching gear reviews. And yes, at the expense of getting less views, this includes mine as well. I made a video about this before, but gear reviews really won't teach you much about photography. They're not really supposed to in the first place anyways, but there are really only two reasons why you would want to watch a gear review. One is to learn more about a lens or a camera, or two, which is for entertainment. But beyond that, you don't learn much about photography itself. All a gear review really does is give you gas or gear acquisition syndrome and potentially lower your credit score. So although I don't really watch gear reviews anymore, I still make them because I know you guys enjoy them. But I still try to implement as many useful things in there as I can. So this might be tips on creativity, things I've learned from using the gear, or just stories or context from my photography sessions. So the point is you can watch gear reviews if you want, but understand it's more for entertainment, not education. I found them to be unhelpful when it comes to improving in photography because they have me more focused on the gear itself, not photography. And this only drains time and attention away from the craft. If you want to be more productive and improve in photography, focus on taking photos, not what everyone else is doing or using. That alone will probably save you more than 10 hours a week of watching people review and talk and share the same specs over and over again. Send your friends the JPEGs. This sounds a bit silly, but I used to edit all the photos I sent my friends. I'm talking about memories from camping trips, hangouts, or from birthdays. I would take the time to sort through and edit the photos before sending them to people. And that just took up so much time. This is what I should have done. Because Fujifilm has great JPEGs that don't really require much editing, I should have just used all of those and sent them to people instead. Make a Google Photos album, drop in all the JPEGs, and link your friends and family. And don't care about whether the photos are good or bad, because they probably don't care either. Save yourself time by editing only the best of the best photos or the photos you want to edit. That's what I do now, and my life has gotten so much better because of it. Which leads me to the next point. Don't edit every photo. This one seems a bit obvious, right? It wasn't so obvious for me. When I first started in photography, I would edit nearly every photo. And to be honest, if you're just starting out in photography, I would recommend for you to do so as well. So this is where we get into the meat of the conversation. Hear me out, this is important. 3 reasons why you should edit nearly every photo as a beginner photographer. 1, you have no idea how to edit yet. 2, you need the feedback. 3, this builds your style. So let's break each one of these down. We'll start with you have no idea how to edit yet. When you first begin in photography, you have to learn how to edit. This is because photography is just as much about taking the photo as it is about the edit. Of course, if you're the fancy photographer who only uses straight out of camera JPEGs, you can ignore everything I'm saying here. But for the rest of us, editing is an important part of the process. It's how you get your looks and how you learn about your own preferences. And the most important thing here is to get in the reps. You will only build up the skill of photo editing by editing thousands and thousands of photos. And you can pay down that skill debt by charging in and editing every single photo, regardless of if it's good or bad. Actually, I'd even encourage you to edit the bad ones. This will teach you so much more about photography. This editing grind that you embark on will allow you to try new and different looks, understand what you like and don't like, and also shortcut you to becoming a unique photographer. Many people will turn to tutorials, guides, and presets because they want an easier way out. But at the end of the day, you have to learn how to use the programs, understand what sliders do what, and build the judgment of what actually looks good. Of course, this applies to those who actually want to improve their photography. If you're okay with slapping on a preset or whatever, you can just ignore me. You need the feedback. The second biggest benefit for going on this editing grind and editing every single photo is to get the feedback for your own photography. This means even editing and saving your bad photos. The poorly exposed ones, the badly framed ones, the misfocused ones. They are all representations of gaps in your photography. When you edit the bad photos, you not only learn how to edit better, but you learn what you did wrong and what you can do better the next time you go out and take photos. For example, you might run into a few photos that make you say, "Oh, this was framed poorly, I'll do this next time." Or, "Oh, this was terribly exposed, I'll do this instead." It forces you to review your photos objectively. Because many photographers will agree there's nothing more painful than trying to save a bad photo. But the pain of trying to save that bad photo will actually allow you to change your behavior and take better ones in the future. You'll make sure you get that exposure right the next time. And you'll make sure you frame it right the next time. Because fixing it in post or doing it later actually becomes a pain in the ass. When you have to do this for thousands and thousands of photos over years and years, it really adds up. So learning and working to get that first shot right will save you tons of time in your photography workflow. And this is something that is learned by getting feedback from editing your bad photos. The next point, this builds your style. Style is a popular question in photography. People always seem to ask, how do you build your unique style? I've questioned this myself many times. But as I've learned and learned throughout the years, I've started to understand what style actually means. Style is not only how you take the photos, but how you edit the photos as well. It's a representation of the decisions you made in your photography process. And to learn and build your unique style, you have to put the reps in. This is ultimately why you should edit almost every photo while you're a beginner, because you have no idea what your preferences are and you only learn by doing. Which sucks because it's painful, I know, it requires a lot of work. And editing thousands and thousands of photos can be a pain in the ass unless that's the part of the process you actually enjoy. Here's the good news though. Once you've gotten the reps in and you start to understand your preferences and your style, you won't need to edit every single photo anymore. This brings us full circle. To make things clear, this is my recommendation. If you're a beginner, edit every photo. If you're intermediate and beyond, don't edit every photo. Editing every photo is a recommendation I give because it's useful to build the skill of photo editing. But after that, once you've built the skill, it becomes a huge time suck. So once you understand what you like and how to get there, you have to shift and change your priorities. Okay, so how do you know when you're ready to stop editing every photo? Here are 3 indicators that you're ready to move on. 1, you know how to edit. 2, you know how to take decent photos. 3, you're getting overwhelmed by the sheer volume of photos you have to edit. If you feel even 2 of those 3 things, I think you're ready. Something important to understand is that there's a marginal or diminishing return to learning how to photo edit. In the beginning, you're learning so much about photography and the software itself, but after that, it all becomes just the same. There's only so many techniques you can use to enhance your photos. Because at that point, the true limiter on your photography becomes the photography itself, not your fancy filters or whatever special presets you're using. So if it feels like you're wasting time photo editing, you probably are. So great, this is where we shift our priorities from skill building of photo editing to time saving. Now we want to make the best use of our time, which means no longer editing every photo, but instead building a solid editing process. Which brings us into the next step. Creating a personalized editing system. So now that you know how to edit your photos and you have a sense of style in your photography, you're ready to shift your priorities to saving time. Let's start by creating our own personalized editing system. Now I can't tell you precisely what will work for you, but I'll walk you through my own workflow and then help you build yours. Let's start with culling. If you don't know what culling is just a way to sort your photos. As you progress in your photography journey, you will accumulate thousands and thousands of photos. And so you need a good way to sort through all the fluff. And to do this, there's an important question we need to ask ourselves. What's the end product? The end product is what will determine the final result of your photography. It's why you're taking photos in the first place. Are you taking pictures to just have fun? Do you maybe want to take a few nice ones on the vacation you went to Italy, maybe print, frame it, put it on your wall, whatever? Or are you actually trying to do photography as a profession? Do you have clients you want to work with, one-to-one freelancers, or maybe businesses or corporations you want to take photos for? Or maybe you want to do wedding or portrait photography for a living? Who are you trying to please? Is it yourself, your clients, or your wife? These are all important questions to ask because they'll ultimately determine the flow of your work. For me, the final resting location of my photos will always be either one, content, which would mean like YouTube, Instagram, X, or the newsletter I'm building, or print, which can be a fine art print that I make and sell, a photo zine or a photo book that I make for myself or to sell as well. And this is because for me, photography has not only become a way of documenting my life, but also a way of art and expression as well. Personally, I like to take pictures to either capture the moment, express what I'm saying, or to get better, learn, and improve in the craft. And because of this, I've customized my workflow to suit that end product. So understand that your relationship with photography will determine your end product, which will ultimately determine your culling process or system. Pick your final export destination. Is it for social media? Is it for friends or prints? Or maybe just a combination of all of those things? Once you've chosen, we now have the filter to cull our photos with. Remember, culling is just a way to sort for our end product. It's a way to cut through the good and the bad photos. Because my final destination is content or print, I will sort for that. But yours will be different, so you'll have to keep that in mind as we go through this editing building process. So here's my workflow. I have 3 classifications for sorting through my photos. One is a green tag or the lowest tier photo. The next is a 3-star, and the next is a 5-star photo. Let's break each one of these down. Green tag is just the lowest tier minimum requirement that I set for a photo to make it onto my hard drive. There's only one question I ask, which is it good? Is it bad? So anything that's in focus, proper exposure, and really just not a terrible photo gets a green tag. Everything else I cut and delete ruthlessly. 3-star images are decent photos that could become individual prints themselves or maybe just supplement a photo zine or a photo book. They're pretty good photos, but nothing that would stop me in my tracks and leave me obsessing over. 5-star photos are the best of the best. They're the cream of the crop. They're images that not only stand out composition-wise, but stuff I nailed in terms of exposure, settings, etc. So that's my culling system. Pretty basic, right? I would recommend to keep yours simple as well. Remember, the point of this is to save time, not make things harder for us. So once I've sorted through the good and the bad photos, I'll spend time editing either the 3-star or 5-star ones. I'll also copy and paste adjustments to make the workflow easier and faster. Most of the green tag images I won't edit unless I need to use it for something. And sometimes I'll even just use straight out of camera JPEGs. And that's it. So you can follow this guideline to build your own editing system to suit your needs. But doing this alone has saved me hours and hours upon sorting, editing, wasting time editing useless photos. The focus hour. The final thing we're going to touch on is the focus hour. Now that you got a nice little culling system, your entire workflow should be much more streamlined. But although your taking and editing process is much more efficient, you might still notice yourself having trouble sitting down and getting to work. This is because creative work has times when we are massively productive and times when we are not. This is a normal phenomenon because the fact of the matter is we are not machines. We are not meant to operate at full capacity every waking hour of the day. There are time periods when we are simply more productive than others. And out of all of these time periods, there is 1 hour when we are simply at our best. We are sharp, intuitive, creative, focused, and things become effortless. This is the focus hour. You may have seen this in my other stuff, but the focus hour or creative hour is something I've simply dubbed to describe or refer to the hour that is the most important hour of your day. Because 1 ultra-productive hour is equal to or greater than 6 mediocre hours. This is a ballpark number. Obviously, there's no data on this, but I'm using it to articulate the point. We know this inherently. There are simply just times when we are insanely productive. Everything's flowing, everything's easy, you're making all the right decisions, and you're not even trying that hard. And you're actually excited about the work you're making because you're kind of in a flow state. So if we can tap into that every day and capitalize on that, we can literally get the most for our time. And if you know what I'm talking about and you get what I'm saying, then you will understand that it will seem pointless to do work at any other time besides this time, because all other hours of the day simply won't be as productive and the quality of your work will decrease as well. So the reason why these unproductive hours exist is because we don't prioritize our time well. If we did, we wouldn't feel overworked, overburdened, and we wouldn't burn out. Now, I understand that sometimes we can't help it. We're meeting a deadline and we just need to grind the work out. But ultimately, everything works in systems and processes. So if we can begin making the effort to prioritize this focus hour and also prioritize the tasks we do during that hour, we can make life easier for us as a whole. And once you do this, the interesting thing you'll find is that it actually frees up a lot of time in your day. When you start prioritizing your most important stuff during this focus hour, you'll start getting more stuff done, you'll start ignoring the trivial tasks, and you'll find yourself with more time than you know what to do with. And you'll also have more energy and time to just enjoy life in general. So now that you know how important this hour is, you can't waste it doing anything else. Find your focus hour, circle it, star it, set reminders, and stick to it. Do whatever you need to do to not forget. Make it a habit. This could mean 9 in the morning or at midnight. Say no to your friends, say no to plans, say no to everything during this hour. You can do all of that stuff later. But this time, this is the time when you get shit done. I'll give you another example to make this more real. In photography, there's golden hour. And we all know how important golden hour is, right? It's when the lighting is the best, the colors are the best, and it's when we're gonna get our best photos. So if you're a photographer, it's in your best interest to prioritize golden hour. If I could take pictures during any time during the day, it might as well be golden hour. This works the same for your focus hour as well. If I could do work during any time during the day, it might as well be during my focus hour. And so luckily for us photographers, we get 2 focus hours. We get one, which is golden hour, which is based on circumstance, and the other, which is on our mental capacity or a mental sharpness. That would be the next level to be able to prioritize both, but we'll talk about that in a different video. So let's keep it simple. 1. Find your focus hour. 2. Prioritize it. 3. Become massively more productive without trying. That's the golden framework. You can do what you want with it, but if you follow these steps, you're guaranteed to become more productive. To sum it up, here are 5 things that will make you more productive as a photographer. 1. Stop watching gear reviews. Your consumption is killing your productivity. 2. Send your friends the straight out of camera JPEGs. They won't hate you. 3. Edit every photo if you're a beginner. Once you've built that skill, you can stop editing every photo. 4. Build a personalized culling system to fit your editing needs. You do this by writing out what's the end product of my photos. 5. Prioritize your focus hour. Actually. So if you made it to the end of this video, I'm amazed. If you found this helpful, leave a comment down below. And of course, if you haven't gotten one yet, I'm currently giving out free 4x6 prints. You can find the link down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in another video. Peace.